Rolling. Somebody just popped in and then left. I'm like, yep, I will talk to all of you on October 4th. Good morning. This is session 4 of Breakthrough 120. We're in open houses. The other 3 sessions are up on the hub. If you go to KWCLM Hub and go to learning videos, you'll find session 1, 2, and 3. I believe during session 3 appointments, we discussed Victor Hovland and the fact that I won $120 on DraftKings. If you can text me in a future date and tell me the minute and the second that happened on the Zoom, I will get you a lime Ricky and a lukewarm hot dog from a local purveyor of nitrate sticks. Look up all of that. That'll be a bonus question. There's your Easter egg. If you play video games, there's your Easter egg. Already starting, yes. And we're already there. The talking sticks over here. Ashley's in the building, Timmy's in the building, and we have a student in the room. If you're at home, you can unmute and scream at any point with questions. Other than that, we're going to move forward. Breakthrough 120, one more session next week. We have social media session 5. And then when we move into our August session, we are going to run it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And we will be in the Shark Tank physically for that session. And of course, right here on the Zooms. So let's get rolling. The goal in Breakthrough 120 is to have 10 real estate conversations 5 days a week for the next 120 days. 10 real estate conversations 5 days a week for the next 120 days. And obviously the consistency of also doing your lead generation, getting you to those 9 agreements. Our average GCI, it keeps creeping up. I'm going to tell you it's right around $11,000 is our average for our market center. So that wouldn't hurt if you could do that 9 times. And over the next 120 days, that would be super beneficial, of course. Part 1. This is session 4 of part 1. Breakthrough 120 is 2 things, right? It's the learning portion and the doing portion. Part 2 is our lead gen accountability, which is our midday protocol at noontime, conversation framework practice, proven lead generation strategies, and of course, mindset and motivation. This is how you get to all the things. We've got QR codes for you to go to the Breakthrough Club, which is happening right now in another Zoom room where people are doing lead gen. And then in that same room, spoiler alert, it's the same QR code. It's the same room. We have the midday protocol conversation at noontime. That will be today at 12. Don't forget when you're making your calls, if you're talking to people that you don't know, it is best practice to make sure that you're using the do not call list to follow the Telephone Consumer Protection Act and business-to-business calls included in that conversation. If you don't know somebody who owns their own business and you're calling their business and you start to pitch something to them, they can also be part of the do not call list. So we have to be aware of that. That's why it's a best practice to stay on your phone, talk to the people that you know and love and trust. Less likely they're going to report you. Less likely they deem you as a threat or an annoyance as well. Open houses, we're going to plan for an open house using the 1-week open house plan. Host a well-attended open house and follow up with attendees after the open house to build relationships. Can you see who's in the Zoom room? No, I'm just making sure you that it was a question. Truly a question, because I've lost the box. I have no idea what the box is. Wonderful. I appreciate that. Progress report. Anything to report, Marion, while you're here? You're the one in the room. Oh, the brevity on a Monday morning is appreciated. Chef's kiss. Um, we want to make sure that we are mindful of this opportunity back here. Stand by. I'm rolling through. Number of contacts added to your database. This is always going to be important. 1,000 years ago, they came up with, what was the number? It was between somewhere. What was the big number that they wanted everybody to get to? 201. Yes, yes. There was a big effort a couple of years ago to get to 201. And I think people felt that was a finish line. I promise you it's not. What was ignored was there was a hyphen after the 201, and then the next number was 1,000. So 201 is really, that's the speed bump you want to get over. You want to get your database to 201 plus people. So getting to that first 201, wildly important, but we certainly don't want to stop there. We want to have as many conversations going as possible so we can have more opportunities. So we're talking about the people that we added to our database, the number of Telephone Consumer Protection Act compliant calls that we made. You're welcome, Jason. And then number of conversations that you had, and then real estate follow-up opportunities, challenges we may have had, and then ahas. We want to keep notes on that so we can talk about it in class every week. We've been talking about fears, looking at fears from previous sessions. Which of these no longer affects you the same way? Have new fears come up? Classify your new fears about being a real estate agent, hosting open houses as rational or irrational. Marion, any fears about open houses in general? Safety, okay. Yep, sure. What else? Information about the property, okay. Yep. Okay. Two rational fears so far. Good. You haven't said sharks and swimming pools yet. That's good. I always say an irrational fear is you're afraid of sharks, so you don't want to go in a swimming pool. Okay. They are. Yep. Yeah, so when we're doing an open house, I think it's a great idea to have somebody else there with you. An easy safety valve, if he's available, is to have Brad in the building or another lender, because having somebody in the building, first of all, Brad's great because Brad's taller than me, so I would like to have Brad there. Brad plays hockey. He could certainly handle himself if it got to that. Not that we need somebody who's going to be this purveyor of violence, but in the grand scheme of things, if we're there and something goes down, Brad's not the worst idea. Having a lender there is great because it could get people checked in on the go, which is also really cool. And then just in general, we want to make sure when we're doing open houses, we have all of our passive egress are unlocked and ready to go. And not that you want to jam yourself up, like leaving the back door open so somebody could sneak in without you knowing. But if you've got a big property and you know I should probably have more than one of me there to maintain the property, having somebody else there is a great idea insofar as client service or consumer service for the people touring the home, keeping an eye on all the doors, and ultimately a security piece as well. But if you could have a lender there who could act as a second body and also be getting people qualified, having that pre-qualified conversation with them on the go, because that'll be an excuse for a lot of people, like, well, we have no idea where we stand. And not that people are going to sit in an island on a Saturday with other people roaming around, but Brad would be able to put them in a different space and have a private conversation with them and probably get them pre-qualified in the time in which they're viewing the home. Beyond that, not knowing all the things about the house, I think that's, if it's our property, we should be finding out as much as possible as we can. But if you're doing an open house for another agent, that's making sure you're having a great conversation with them about it. And also knowing, without fail, Murphy's Law, somebody's going to come in and ask you a question that you don't have the information for. Readily available, of course. But this is why I always go back. Like if you have an agent, you have a veteran agent, and they call you on a Thursday night and they ask you if you want to do a Saturday 10 a.m. open house, and there's no preparative talk, there's no walkthrough, there's no nothing, I think that's a rush. I think most agents that want you to do a great job at the open house, they're going to bring you over there. They're going to point out points of interest, some idiosyncrasies about the property, about the owners, all that kind of stuff. They're going to have you pretty well prepped. I don't think, and we talked a little bit earlier about how we're going to show you a week-long process. It's going to talk about a lot of the things that are on page 71 in Shift. Page 71 in the book called Shift is the 7th level open house. And I think if you're going to do a fantastic open house, it's going to have a handful of those bullet points. Too many agents decide on Wednesday they're going to do an open house on Saturday. They might, well, they're going to probably advertise it on social media, and then they're going to show up that morning with 3 balloons and 4 stale cookies and be pissed nobody showed up. If nobody shows up to your party, it's probably because you didn't do a real good job inviting people. And the personal invite, as we know from the book from Michael Mayer, 7 Levels of Communication, the personal invite is the highest level of communication. People feel more endeared to show up at your event if they actually got a phone call, some sort of personal communication for them to show up. And we typically overstep that and just say, well, I put it on MySpace. Everybody knows about it. No, they don't. They absolutely do not. Overcoming fears with action. Fear of low attendance or no visitors at the open house. The open house is an opportunity to practice your hosting skills and generate connections, regardless of turnout. Even a few visitors can become potential clients or leads. Promote the event well in advance through various channels, including social media, connecting with your database, a neighborhood canvassing, door knocking around it, of course, to maximize attendance. I think it was our dear friends over at Century 21 who came up with the quote-unquote golden rule, pun intended, because of the jacket. 10, 10, 20. You knock 10 doors to the left of the house, 10 to the right of the house, 20 across the street. Now, you'll be in some neighborhoods where there's just density and it's really easy to knock an additional 40 doors around the house, or you go somewhere like in the woods. I'm in Stratford. It would take you 3 days to knock 40 doors because everybody's spread out quite a bit. Not that you shouldn't do it. It just might take you a little bit longer than a couple of hours on a Thursday afternoon. But if you're not door knocking the neighborhood ahead of time, inviting the neighbors, creating some value for them, it's a good idea to maybe consider doing that in the future if you've done open houses or if you haven't. Fear of not knowing the answers to questions about the house or the neighborhood. Accept that you don't need to have all the answers. Your role is to be engaged, attentive, and resourceful. Following up with them to give them the answer later is an ideal opportunity for relationship building. Prepare in advance by studying the property details, neighborhood info, and common questions. Offer to follow up with the detailed answers after the open houses if you don't know it at the moment. Fear that you may not be safe at the open house. And we talked about this. Prioritize your safety by arriving early to do a walkthrough, keeping your personal belongings secure, and having a check-in sheet to track visitors. Consider having a partner or colleague with you and always let someone know where you'll be and when. Confidence comes from preparation and your safety comes first. So yeah, letting people know. I think it's always a good idea to have a second party there. I know people do open houses by themselves. I think it's a great idea to have one more person there with you, for sure. And beyond that, the tracking sheet can be challenging. I think on the other side of COVID, if people are smart, certainly during COVID, it was easy because we quote unquote needed to track everybody that was going to be in the property in case there was an alert and we had a health issue, and we could tell everybody that there was somebody that was sick or infected in the house. At this point, it's a courtesy to the sellers, and I think that's how you explain it. And you ask them to write down all their information. If they're represented by another agent, please list that so we can communicate with that agent. We're not communicating with you because that's quote unquote crossing a sign. We don't want to be doing that. How are you, sir? Good to see you. All is well? Excellent. Educate yourself about what you're afraid of because knowledge reduces uncertainty. The more you know, the less power fear holds you. The less power fear holds. And I think this is, I say this all the time, anxiety exists where there's lack of a plan. I think if we are unprepared, we're obviously going to be anxious. That's going to show up in the way we're presenting ourselves to people. And just knowing you're never going to have all the answers. No matter how extensive, the veteran agent takes you to lunch on Wednesday, they show you the property, they answer a million questions, they give you all the information you could need. Still, some jackass is going to walk in on Saturday afternoon and be like, hey, got a question about 30 miles off the rear pin of the property. There's no reason you would ever have that kind of information. Or what if a Walmart gets built in our backyard in 10 years and there are no current plans for it? There's stuff you can't answer. And there's people that have nothing better to do but go out and poke around and be persnickety and just ruin people's days. So take it all in stride and know that everybody's got a conversation machine. You can text or call the person who has the listing, or if it's a legal question, you can call your brokers. And we should also, I'm probably going to talk about this at some point, if you ever feel unsafe, we call it the orange file here. If you ever feel unsafe and you're doing something during the week, you can always call the office and you can just ask Melanie or whoever answers the phone, hey, I'm at 123 Main Street. Do you have the orange file for this property? At that point, we're going to know that you're probably standing with somebody who's listening to what you're saying. An orange file means that we're going to send somebody to the property. That's if you feel unsafe. If you are in direct harm, you should call, write this down, 911. I think, and we probably can tell the differentiation between this person's freaking me out a little bit and something's about to happen. Certainly don't be afraid to call 911 if something is going down. But if you're just feeling unsafe, somebody's lingering around, that sixth sense, the hair on the back of your neck, you can just reach out to the office and ask for the orange file. Or when you're going into a showing or doing an open house, making sure your loved ones know where you are, when you should be done, when you should be escaping, all that kind of stuff is also powerful. But you could reach out to any of us and let us know that you got something going on and you're freaked out. Even if we're out doing stuff, somebody will get there. Brad has probably driven to more open houses randomly than most, because people just think I need somebody who can hit somebody with a hockey stick, and Brad's probably he's got at least 6 hockey sticks in the back of his truck. So, and not to freak people out, stuff's not happening all the time, but I think that's where we get in our bubble up here. I think we keep seeing these things on Dateline and all around the country, and it's never New England. And we just want people to be safe. If you have a gut instinct that something's off, you're probably not wrong. So just raise your hand. Even if we send somebody over there and it was nothing, we'd rather have you feel safe and know that somebody will show up when you need them. Open house myth understandings. The myth: open houses don't sell houses. Well, so here's the challenge with that. The probability that somebody's going to walk into your open house and buy that house, it's not that it doesn't happen. We obviously get multiple offers and somebody's going to win that deal. What we need to understand is the probability that 99% of the people going through that house do not view it as their home. And they're going to be ready to look at other stuff. So this is why it's important that we create exposure, collect feedback, and that leads to future sales. Even if the buyer for this listing doesn't attend, open houses build your market presence and pipeline. Great teams are going to have listing packets for their other properties at the open house. And that's something you have to sort of teach to your seller, because your seller will get a little freaked out when you're like, well, we have 14 other listings and we're going to have packets for those houses at this house while we're holding it open. People get like, well, why would you be trying to sell 14 other houses? Because we know 99% of the people walking through this house aren't going to buy your house. They're just investigating what the market is bearing, and they could be attracted. But what the Lindsays need to understand is, yes, there's 14 listing packets for other houses in their house. Everybody else's house has their listing packet in it as well. So it's the power of the cross-pollination of all of our properties, getting all of our consumers to realize what we all have to offer. Level 7 open house, if you go on page 71 of Shift, the 7th level open house is holding 6 other houses open, creating more value for the consumer and more traffic for all the properties. Open houses are a waste of time. They're a proven lead generation tool. Boost visibility, provide valuable market insight, and show sellers you're actively marketing their property. They will be a waste of time if you don't let anybody know about it. You make a flyer, you put that flyer on MySpace Wednesday night for a Saturday 10 a.m. open house, and then you put out one open house sign in the front yard of the property with 3 balloons and 4 stale cookies. Of course, it's going to be a waste of time. If you don't tell anybody about your party, they're not going to show up. So creating value around them coming to the open house is huge. And then how you behave when you're there. The agent that says, well, nobody's going to show up. I'm just going to charge my phone and I'm going to play Candy Crush. I think just like when you're doing uptime, if you were concerned about traffic because it's a weird weekend or the weather's going to be weird, bring a project with you. Set up camp on the island in the kitchen and start to work. I guarantee if you start to work, that door is going to start to open up. Serious buyers only book private showings. Many serious buyers start their search casually, certainly online. Open houses give them a comfortable way to explore and often motivate the next step. And as a buyer's agent, making sure that your buyers know that they can go look at open houses without you, that's massive leverage. If I've got 4 people that just started their search, do I want to go be hitting open houses with them if I also have four buyers that I have to go actually open doors and do actual showings with? No. And you'll know you had a great conversation with your buyer when you're getting a phone call from a fellow agent who said, hey, they just showed up, they said they're working with you and they'd like to come back and see it again. They're doing some of the heavy lifting for you. So that's a huge opportunity. And only new agents host open houses. Well, let's back that up. New agents host open houses for who? Agents that have houses to open. And those are agents that are doing the business. So I don't think it's only a new agent thing. I think agents of all shapes and sizes are doing open houses. One of our agents who loves open houses is Melissa Lesniak, and she's not a new agent last time I checked. Ashley, is she new? She's not new. Definitely not new. Yeah, she's been at it for at least 10 minutes. Top agents leverage open houses to meet buyers, connect with neighbors, and create listing opportunities. Open houses are a great opportunity if you think about it. It's the way in which you frame it for yourself. If I'm doing an open house, I have a chance to sit in a piece of my productivity and market myself. Like that's what we need to be looking at. We need to also understand too, yeah, you're going to have a lot of people that are just breezing through. They're driving around, especially springtime. It's that first weekend where they can put shorts on. They're grabbing a cold brew and they're like, let's go see what the market bears. They might be coming in. They don't know where they stand. They haven't talked to a lender. That's why it'd be super cool if you had Brad or somebody else there to start to do pre-approvals. They've got a million questions. They're not even sure what they're looking for yet. What they are looking for, does the market bear what they want, is their first question. And then the other thing we should consider is probably half of these people have something to sell. So the opportunity to hold a house open and market yourself and your standard. You know, if they're showing up and they had trouble finding the house because it's 15 lefts and a right deep into the neighborhoods, and then there's one sign with one balloon and they go inside, lights aren't really on, and you're leaning over the island playing Candy Crush, you just showed them who you are. As opposed to, it was super easy to find. Every corner had a sign and a balloon. And then I got here and there's a ton of cars here. And then I go inside and somebody greeted me at the door and I signed in and they handed a bottle of water and a cookie to my kid. Like, they've already made you feel welcome. And is that a lot of work? Yes. And if you're going to go do something on a Saturday or a Sunday and take yourself away from your loved ones, why would you not do a good job? You are absolutely just going to spin your tires, and it will be a waste of time in the way in which you approach it. Open houses are outdated with online listings and virtual tours. So during COVID, were people doing virtual tours? Yes. Can people still do virtual tours? Yes. Are we still selling houses with video because we have remote buyers? Yes. And it is still, we talked last week or a couple of weeks ago, we've been talked about it in Business Planning Clinic. The top 4 activities for Keller Williams agents right now nationally are, or the top four ways they're getting business. We're talking about social media, events, open houses, and sphere of influence. So if it's one of the top 4 things that mega agents are reporting to Gary, because anytime you hear a number coming from Keller Williams, Gary talks to mega agents every day. So if the agent's talking to Gary, talking to Jason Abrams, talking to our leadership in Texas are saying one of the top 4 things nationally are open houses, I would argue it's the way in which we're doing open houses. Because you'll hear a mixed bag. I'll hear on the same weekend that somebody had to get the police to direct traffic, and I hear on the same weekend that's like, oh, I only had one person. And I guarantee their marketing approach, the chronological order of their marketing approach were probably wildly different. You cannot put it on MySpace Friday night and be pissed nobody showed up between 10 and 12 on Saturday. It doesn't have enough time to even populate online for people to care and get clicks and get notoriety. So they're not outdated. Digital tools create interest, but buyers still want to experience a home in person before making decisions. You can't smell a picture. I mean, there's scratch and sniff pictures, right? But it might look gorgeous, and then you walk in and you're like, oh, this smells like Nana's foot. I don't know if I want to live in Nana's foot, right? Just smells like blech. You can't, I think people want to go in, and everybody has had that feeling, whether you were a college student walking into your dorm, your first apartment, your first house, you walk in and you can sense right away. Our place in Stratford, Janina was horrified. And I said to her, I said, you got to take off your rose colored glasses, take off your HGTV glasses, because we had to strip up all of the carpeting because the owners that had the house before us had dogs and they were older, the people and the dogs didn't always get out of the house. So I will tell you that we replaced all the carpeting and we had to rip up some of the subflooring too. And then we laid down all hardwood. That was a major difference. We had to do a million things when we bought our place, but we bought our place because the framework was going to work for us and our boys, and my in-laws eventually moved over. God help me. But that I was looking at the bones. I'm like, this is what we need. And she couldn't get past X, Y, and Z. So much so that the listing agent, God bless her, called our agent, because I wasn't playing here yet. I hadn't got to Keller Williams until 2010. This is 2009. And the listing agent called our agent, Barbara Mosca from KWCLM, and said, do the Lindsays want, it's as bad as it sounds. Are the Lindsays going to want the velvet curtains? They were like Elvis velvet. It's just, but they were room darkening. They were soul darkening curtains. Like you close those things, you couldn't even feel love. It was bad. And they just smelled, they didn't smoke, thank God, but they just smelled like the people that lived there. Yeah. Yes. Was not my favorite. We elected to have those taken down. Open houses only attract curiosity seekers and neighbors. You want the neighbors, first of all, and we'll go down that wormhole in a second. Digital open houses attract first-time buyers figuring out what they want, agents previewing for clients, and don't forget, when you do that, if you're going to go to somebody's open house as an agent, you're going to walk in. If you're going to by yourself, you're going to walk in, you're going to introduce yourself immediately. Hey, Tim Lindsay, KWCLM, just wanted to come see the property. I've got some buyers that are looking. They weren't available today. And I'm not going in, I'm not talking to anybody. I'm talking to the lead listing agent, maybe some other agents that are in there that I know, but I'm not talking to a single civilian. All of the civilians marching around that property are an opportunity for the agent holding the house open. We have heard time and time again that agents stand at the end of driveways and talk to people as they're coming out, which is 3 words, disgusting. There it is. Yeah, it's ridiculous. If you have to go to somebody else's pier and try to fish off of it, you're not going to be here long because Nate won't stand for that. That's just really bad practice. We don't do that. So you go in, you make sure they know exactly who you are. You keep to yourself. You view the property. And when you're in there, also be aware. If I go in and I see Ashley and Ashley's like looking at me, then looking at this weird guy that's in the library, I'm going to take that as, hey, you're wrapping up at 2 o'clock, right? Do you want me to help you? And you just hang up. That's not the worst idea either. So let's be good. Let's be good not co-hosts, but co-brokes, and take care of each other, because the industry is it's a small one when you get to know everybody. Neighbors who may become future listings, yes, and looky-loos who eventually transact and might choose you. You're going to get all those people. We want all those conversations. These are all at bats. Insofar as getting the neighborhood, if you can, and I don't think this is the worst idea, if you're going to add an extra hour, and you don't even have to worry about this, because people will get all worked up and say, well, a 1 hour open house is crazy. Okay, then make it a 2 hour open house. But what I'm going to recommend it is, if you're going to go noon to 2 on a Saturday, I would say there's an unadvertised 11 to 12, and do 60 minutes before the public open house, and do something small for the neighborhood. And if the neighborhood is 20 houses, 40 houses, you have to gauge what this is going to look like. But just door knock, introduce yourself, and say, we're having an open house from 12 to 2. We're doing something private for the neighborhood from 11 to 12. Because what that's going to do is, when the humans show up at 11:45, because they will, because they want to be the first one in the house, they're going to see humans in the house already, which creates FOMO and the what's going on. But the fast twitch muscle that you're creating for all the people in the neighborhood is, every time you do an open house, you keep inviting them to this private event beforehand with a little bit, some sort of value. Like if it's the week before Easter and Passover, you could put these obvious plastic eggs with their address number obviously hidden somewhere in the house, like they're 3-year-olds with, I don't know, a scratch ticket. It doesn't matter. Something of value to make it fun for them, something where they count on the fact there's going to be something exclusive for them before the open house. If you do that and you keep road mapping this neighborhood and the Lindsays finally decide to list and you've invited them to 7 exclusive pre-parties and they choose somebody else, they just hate you at that point, clearly. Something did not go right. I would say you're going to gain more business by doing that. And we want those people there because they're going to be talking about everything. They're going to be telling their friends there's an opportunity in their neighborhood, or maybe they're not going to because they don't want their friends to move in. But we do want to, we always talk about doing the just listed, just sold. We're doing that to try to get more business from that neighborhood. Having something exclusive for them before the actual open house is going to be huge for you. And we should know too, if you have a 12 to 2 open house, they're coming before it starts and they're definitely showing up after it ends. So if your son has a lacrosse game at 2:30, you shouldn't be like, oh, I'll be there in plenty of time. You're not going to be there in plenty of time. So move your open house so you can be at your son's lacrosse game. It's Murphy's Law. They're going to show up afterwards. And those are some of the best conversations, by the way. So also be prepared for that. Hosting an open house means I'm only doing lead gen on weekends. Nope. If you go back to the 7th level open house, page 71 in Shift, everything you're doing to invite people all week, all the things you're doing to prepare for it all week, that's all lead generation. You will probably have your most meaningful conversations leading up to the open house. The open house might be managing some madness, and you'll obviously have some great conversations. You'll obviously probably get some offers. That happens too when you get a lot of traffic, because people freak out. People go back out to the car with their agent. They're like, we have to go back to the office and write an offer right now. There were 35 people in there, and they all seem interested. Also, if you have friends, and I don't even care if they're moving or not, if I know Ashley lives near my open house, I know Ashley is going to be doing deep knee bends because she goes to yoga every Saturday. I'm going to get Ashley and anybody else that I know that lives in that part of town to come by and just visit. Twofold. Ashley knows that I do real estate. Ashley's not in the industry, so she has a picture in her head of what we actually do. She actually gets to come see me actually doing my job, which makes it real for her first and foremost. And she's also one of my close friends, so she's going to stand at the island in the kitchen and shoot the shit for a little bit. What does everybody else in the house think is happening? She's asking a lot of questions. That girl with the yoga mat's about to make an offer. No, we're making lunch plans because I'm about to be done with this. But if you have anybody in your life who lives nearby, have them come visit. It's not disingenuous. You get more people moving through that house. You create that false excitement, you're going to get people moving. And don't forget, logic makes people think, emotion makes them act. And if they're enjoying the house well enough, they're going to act. Nobody's going to make an offer on a house they don't want to buy because they saw Ashley talking to me after yoga class. That's not the point. We have to understand.
You know what? I just from Melania.
Correct.
Might like this.
Correct. Yes. 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 You invite everyone you know, everyone who's alive to swing through during those 2 hours. You know, if the cops show up and yell at you about traffic problems, and if yes, yeah. Like if on a Monday Nate gets a call from the Portsmouth police, one of your agents jammed up one of our neighborhoods, he's going to probably talk to you about it and be like, let's get some orange cones and good job. It's never going to be an issue. Never going to be an issue. He's never going to be mad you were doing your friggin' job, so much so that so many people showed up that it became a traffic incident in Portsmouth. That's great advertising. By the way, watching the news this morning, yes, I'm old. I watch the news. That shooting in Hampton, they're zooming in on the house and there's a Mazziello sign. And the poor girl's name is just in center focus. I'm like, oh, poor girl. Poor girl. So now everybody's going to be calling her today. Hey, is that house traumatized? Yeah, exactly. Yep. Is that oh, I forgot about that. Wonderful. A great open house strategy involves weekday TCPA, Telephone Consumer Protection Act, compliant calls, email, social media, and door knocking. It's lead generation before, during, and after the weekend. Yeah, it's inviting them to the event. It's talking to them at the event. And then anybody that said they were going to join you if you're doing something that's really big and and amazing, and there's actually a save the date and all that kind of stuff. Not that much, but you could call people, and this would be the best thing to do. There's a reverse search in Prime MLS. You can go in and you can see client numbers. I can see that the client number is attached to Ashley. One's attached to Marion. I can call those agents and say, hey, I've got my property at 48 Oak is going open on Saturday from 10 to 12. And I can see that some of your clients have looked at the property. Just make them aware that I'm there, have them introduce themselves, and remind me that they're working with you, and I'll let you know if I have any feedback for you. That's super simple. Then you're after the event, Sunday, Monday, whenever you get back into the office, you can call back through all those things, talk to those agents again. Hey, did your clients happen to swing through? Nobody mentioned your name. It's great follow-up. You never know. And you can't say it didn't work if you don't do it. I'm going to repeat that. You can't say it didn't work if you don't do it. Open houses only happen on Saturdays and Sundays from 1 to 4. I did just say 12 to 2, so that's clearly a lie. And I think it really is dependent. We have to read the room. If you're on, I always call it Richards Way, and I think it's Richards Ave, in Portsmouth, Richards something, is right down by the ballparks. If I have absolute knowledge, baseball's happening, soccer's happening, do I want to jam my people up? No. Do I want to make sure that I'm going to be in front of or behind that traffic? Yes. Like if I'm also near, let's say, a Catholic church, and there's a 12 o'clock mass on Sunday, I'm not going to make my open house before that. I would make it after that. Nobody's going to pop into the open house on their way to mass. People might pop into the open house after mass. And I would argue that if you're doing one that's near a company and you want to do a commuter open house, that wouldn't be Saturday or Sunday. You could obviously talk about that benefit Saturday or Sunday, but I would have that happen between 4 and 6 or 5 and 7 on a weekday. So now I've got my guy, and I'll pick on Biberty Mutual, even though they're not over in Dover anymore. That big, huge campus off exit 9 in Dover that was there for years, where Lincoln and Liberty were. If I had a property near there and I could do a 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. and I'm getting all those people pulling out of the office and they're driving back to Manch or wherever they're driving back to, and they could be 2 miles away from the office. Some people might like that. Some people might not like that. But if I could shorten your commute down to 4 minutes as opposed to 40 minutes, that would be something that would not happen Saturday or Sunday. So I think we got to read the room on that. And I think broker open houses on a weekday afternoon are huge because agents love to say, Bob, I'm going to start doing lead gen. I'm going to head over to a broker open house at 3 p.m., 3 to 5 with a pool and all that kind of stuff. Read the room, figure out the location, and what would benefit focusing on the benefits of the property, right? Not just, hey, I'm going to do it Saturday and Sunday because that's when people do it. I'm going to figure out, is there going to be great traffic or troubling traffic because of soccer or youth baseball? Will there be great afterflow because Temple lets out or church lets out? You know, read the room on that kind of stuff. And obviously, if you have a business opportunity near a major corporation, something over by Pease or something near a big company like the former Biberty Mutual in Dover, I would capitalize on that with a weekday afternoon commuter open house. That's the way to do that. Skill builder, lead generate with open houses. What an open house does. An open house is a scheduled time when a property that is for sale is open to the public for viewing. It connects you with the neighbors through circle prospecting. It gives you an opportunity to understand homes, allows you to practice and perfect your conversations and dialogues. It attracts serious buyers and seller leads right to the door. Because again, a lot of people, probably half the people looking have something to sell. When are we going to find that out? When we talk to them. Builds relationships with fellow agents in the area as well. Boosts your name recognition and strengthens your brand. Uncovers hidden listing opportunities nearby. What's fascinating, going back to number 6, you will talk to agents that are threatening to be good people. Oh, this sounds so judgy, but here we go. If you're an agent and you're like, I don't do open houses, I think they're stupid. That's just a fascinating statement, and I would like to get you on a leather recambier and explore that a little bit more. Anybody who wants to do something in this industry and then decides to take away what we've decided as a company, right? What are the top 4 business builders in all of KW? We've decided open houses are one of those arrows in the quiver, and you don't want to do them because you've decided they don't work in Springvale, Maine, or they don't work in Sunapee, New Hampshire. I would go back and ask you for the math. How many have you conducted? What activities did you do before you conducted that open house? What were your results? It's the same as when an agent sends a check to an aggregator and then gets the leads, calls one number, they don't pick up, and they decide, I'm not going to call these numbers anymore, they're all bad numbers, or they're all bad leads, rather than exhausting the opportunity. So I think this is huge. You do not want to become the agent that people are just like, oh yeah, she never does open houses. She thinks they're stupid. And you'll hear people say that out loud. Or they'll admittedly sit there in a room full of people and be like, oh, I don't do open houses, I think they're stupid, which is fine. That's their right. And they could be running a fantastic business. What's fascinating is they clearly could be running a better business if they were doing open houses. And everybody does them differently. There's no right or wrong way to do them. But I think if you're pulling an arrow out of the quiver and saying, I'm never going to use that tool, when we know as a company, as a brand nationally, that's one of the 4 most powerful tools that we have. It's a challenging conversation for sure. Go ahead, sir. Talking stick. I don't even know if we have anybody on Zoom, but just use the talking stick. Wonderful. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. About the knocking doors,
Yes, sir.
I saw something, some towns ask for some professionals need to take some license on the police department for not have troubles, and you knock doors. Do you know?
Like no soliciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
Do you
soliciting.
know something like that? For example, Rye have big houses and is maybe for we don't have any problem trespassing the property for knocking doors or something like that.
So neighborhood to neighborhood, you could get to the end of a certain neighborhood and it might say, they might have like the community has a no soliciting at the end of the road. Like I'll pick on my sister's neighborhood. So my wife and I live in Stratford. My sister Stephanie and her husband moved to Stratford a year later. My sister Stephanie lives over on Point Trinity. That's over on Bow Lake. It's connected to Carter Way. They all have golf carts. That should probably tell the story. The end of my sister's street has a gate. The end of my street has a sign that says moose gutting top of hill. Like it's a tale of 2 cities, right? I live in Stratford. Like we just wrapped up 72 hours of cannon fodder, gunshots, and fireworks. Like, listen, that's the first 10 seconds of silence I've had in 4 days, right? Now, my sister's side, fireworks, yes, and all that kind of stuff. My point is, if somebody wants to sell a house on Point Trinity in Stratford, this is real, by the way, Gary, look it up. You can't put a for sale sign in the yard of the house on the street. You have to put it at the end of the road with a sign that points down to Point Trinity saying house for sale this way. But nobody in the neighborhood will put a sign in their yard. It's a thing they've agreed upon. Mind you, my neighborhood, very different. So my point is, you might get the neighborhoods that have no soliciting, or if you have a listing near an apartment complex and you went to talk to Brad and you're like, hey, Brad, can you run the numbers? Because I think if you run the numbers on this little Cape in Dover, it's commensurate with renting this at this apartment complex. It would make sense for me to go talk to them. So I'll tell you what, I'll tell you how I circumvented the rules. I'm not recommending that you do this, but I had a survey. So I was taking the survey. I wasn't soliciting. I wasn't selling anything. I was asking questions. Now, am I still breaking the rules? Because soliciting isn't necessarily selling. It can just be passing the sign. But it didn't say no trespassing. It said no soliciting. So I would knock, and I was asking everybody in the apartment building that would answer the door if I could just ask them questions. How long have you lived here? What made you come? What's made you stay? By the way, are you aware there's an open house? And I've got some numbers here for you. So I showed them cost of ownership on the Cape up the street that we were going to have open Saturday from 10 to 12. Just so they could, in their head, understand it might make more sense and come join me on Saturday and take a peek. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, also when we're in private neighborhoods, yes, because I'm a wonderful person, this is sarcasm, by the way, I went on purpose and I would door knock at least once a month just for fun for no other reason than I just wanted to do it, I would go door knock Michael Bean's neighborhood. Yes, I did. And I would have everybody in the neighborhood like, you realize whose neighborhood you're in? I'm like, yep. And I would just door knocking it, just to be jackasses. So he owns another brokerage. It's a long story. A lot of those people had no soliciting on their front step, like some little private sign that they had poked that you couldn't go. I would not go up those stairs. I would not do that. The other thing we need to be mindful of too, if I am door knocking in front of an open house or just to go meet people and hopefully find a new listing, if I have anything, any physical materials, any marketing collateral that I want to leave behind, door hangers are okay. Usually, if you don't want to fiddle with the door, because everybody's got a camera now, like everybody's got a Ring doorbell. If you don't want to touch the door or anything, you could slide it under their doormat. We can't leave anything in the mailbox. And we talk about this all the time, and I feel like everyone should know this, but I know so many people that don't know this. It's a federal offense for you privately to put something in somebody's mailbox. Only the mailman can do that, right? So those would be all the parameters I want to be aware of. Do you have to have any training? No. Do I think that we should all go with somebody? Yes. I know I say that sometimes, and I don't catch myself. I think the girls in the room are like, oh, he's telling females to be safe and not. No, I'm 5'9". Anybody can kick my ass. I also think as a guy going alone, that's also got a creepy factor. I've told my story of Newfields a million times where I was in a black Windstar. So let's back up a little bit. This is how bad this gets. I was in a black Ford Windstar when I was selling real estate. This is probably 2011, 2012. I was running marathons at that point. So this is 168 pounds. Also troubling. You're like, oh, you must have looked good. No, stay with me. Stay with me. It's November and I'm doing Grovember. So now I've just got a mustache. I've got a mustache. I'm 170 soaking wet and I'm in a Ford Windstar. Yeah, right. And I'm in a Ford Windstar. And when I got to the neighborhood, this one particular afternoon, when I got to the neighborhood, it was about 3 o'clock. I was trailing the school bus. Everything was wrong. Everything was wrong. And what I realized in that moment, I'm like, first of all, go shave your lip, right? Don't go at 3 o'clock. This is creepy. I was getting out of the car saying, are your parents home? What am I doing? I went home, hot water, steel brush, couldn't wash the shame off. Anyway, what I realized as a guy is if you bring a girl, more doors get opened. And I'm not saying you can't go guy, but when I started bringing females, and JV, you think JV be good? Like somebody coming to the door, she's like, you talk. Like JV didn't want to. And we got a great story about, I got bit by a dog about this big in Dover. She'll tell you the story later. It was great. I was in Bucks and I went down the hill and the dog attacked me. And I was trying to flail it off with, I'm not proud of it. Went to the hospital, rabies shot, everything. We had a sordid past. So I would say when I realized if I bring a female, people start to open the door. So as a guy knocking doors, and especially as you're breaking through, right? When you're getting started the first time through, everybody's just like, what's this? Is he selling encyclopedias, Bibles, Jehovah's Witness? And no judgment in any of those statements. But until you start to consistently show up, people in New England love to politicize it and be like, well, I probably won't do it until after the election. There's always an election. And what you'll realize is they're not going to think that you're, canvassing for the red or the blue when you just keep showing up. And now they know. That's Timmy, local realtor, open house in 2 weeks, right? So no soliciting. I would pay attention to that. We're in a very litigious time in our country. I would not do what I used to do when I was going to apartment buildings and saying that I was taking a survey, but it worked great. I got a lot of people and I'm like, hey, I've got a lot of data here. I said, if you want the results, I can send it to you. And I was getting names and phone numbers and email addresses. So, and yeah, and I had the mustache too. I didn't probably have the mustache. Yeah.
It's been suggested that if you are going to door knock, to call the police, non-emergency line.
Yeah.
Give them a heads up ahead of time.
I don't hate that.
Thoughts on it?
I don't hate that at all. I'm not like, I've probably heard maybe one other person say that, but I'm giving you credit because I couldn't tell you when I heard somebody say, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Yeah, this is Tim Lindsay, and I'm gonna be door knocking around the Mahomet school system over in the Durham area. I'm hitting these 5 streets because I have an open house coming up on Saturday. I'm hoping there'll be terrible traffic, so I'm also giving you guys a heads up. If you've got horrible traffic on X Street in Durham on Saturday between 9:30 and 12:30, it's my fault, right? And I'm gonna be door knocking there Thursday, so if you get any calls that there's a weird guy in a black van with a mustache, it's just me. Just me looking for business, fighting for my life. Yep, right? Yeah. Oh my God. I said it and I stopped. I'm like, did you just say that to a child? Like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Uh, it wasn't great. Yep, back up. 4 steps to create an epic open house. And I promise you, these are all ripped from page 71 in Shift. Page 71 in the book called Shift. And again, do you need to do all 7 things in the book Shift on page 71? No, it's a good start. Because I think you'll have a lot of people, and I'm calling out most of our realtors here at KW across the country would tell you, oh, I always do a 7th level open house. Like if I always make waffles, I always brush my teeth, I always tie my shoes, you could tell me how that works. So the next time you run into somebody that tells you that they don't always do a 7th level open house, have them enumerate them on the spot. They can't. I promise. And that's okay. It's a process. But it's a good roadmap to look at and be like, how many of these am I doing? What am I not doing? Because we can't say open houses don't work if we're not doing things that we know. And Shift's been out for a while. Page 71, the information on page 71 has been available for a while. So this is a pretty good breakdown. And this is why I would say if I was going to get tapped on the shoulder to do an open house this coming weekend, I could get a running start right now. But if a veteran agent called me on Thursday or Friday night and said, you want to do Saturday at 10? I would ask them, what have you done for me lately? Like, what have you done in preparation? Or am I just going to go stand in the kitchen and look like a jackass? And it's not about you looking like a jackass. It's about you having the information about what it's going to look like. So day 1, identify a house to hold open. And this, as an agent without listings, I'm just going to start asking veteran agents, what do you got? Do you need anything that needs to be held open again? Figure out your date. Figure out if you're doing Saturday or Sunday. Obviously, this past weekend, I think most of the country, in most sales verticals, in most industries, nobody did anything except eat popsicles and light fireworks. So this is a pretty slow weekend. You'll have a lot of open houses this coming weekend for sure. Going to post on the MLS that we're doing it. Create our marketing materials. Start to invite people that you know that could be around. People that you know that are agent numbers in Prime MLS, get a hold of their agents, tell them that you're holding it open. Go door knock with Circle Prospecting, right? Partner with vendors. Can I get Brad to show up? Will Brad supply stale cookies and bottles of water? Day 4, post on social media channels, which you probably have already done, but you can refresh it with a new post. Maybe some content you shot at the property. Day 5, put up directional signs. That seems early. It's not. If you can put up a couple days out, and you've got to check with your towns again, because there'll be towns that don't let you put signs up. And they won't even call you. They'll just be like, not allowed to do this. And they just collect your signs and you'll never see them again. So when you're doing open houses, you're checking with the veteran agent, you're checking with your team, you're checking with the town. Can I put out signs ahead of time? Day 6, block off a day, require sign in, adapt, pay attention, stay safe. And then day 7, this is the day after, put invitees and attendees on a follow-up plan. This is the other thing that's not happening. I talked to so many agents, they had a great open house, and they've got a page full of 32 names, and it was over the weekend, and I'm having a one-on-one with them on Tuesday, and they haven't called anybody yet. It's like the 80s. Like we met a girl at the bar. No, I'm going to give it 4 more days. My friend said, don't seem desperate. That's just stupid. Capital ST stupid. Like we want to get a hold of the people right away, like Saturday afternoon. And Phil M. Jones, great book, Exactly What to Say. He wrote a secondary book called Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents. Gave us a cheat code. I think all of us are guilty of this. We've held an open house. People are coming back downstairs. The Anderson family is walking out. And I ask mom and dad, hey, what did you think? And that's going to quickly have them move sharply to an answer like, not for us. So Philip Jones said, don't ask that question. Ask this question. What did you love about the house? Because now they're going to start to say the things that they did like, maybe even just one that they might sort of invent just to be polite. But at that point, you can say, well, you know what? We've got something like this, but it actually has a bigger backyard. It's 2 streets over. Let me call Allison on my team and see if she can meet you there. Do you want to go look at it now? Like, that's the kind of stuff we want to be asking. So rather than just, what did you think? Which is almost a closed question. What did you enjoy about the property? To get them talking. So we're selecting a listing. Pick the right house. Hold your own or another agent's listing open. New to market homes or recent price reductions are great open house options. Low inventory neighborhoods. And back up to bullet point number 2. When you haven't made a price change, and you know because it's not priced fantastically, Carrie Kellerman came up with this one. SIP, right? Seller inspired pricing. I love that. If we've been on the market for 7 to 10 days and your phone hasn't rung, you haven't had any showings, you haven't had any offers, the market has spoken. Like, we know what's going on. There should be a price improvement at this point. So if you're going to hold another open house 30 days in with no price improvement, all you're doing is telling the universe that you're still overpriced. Can you hold it open? Sure. Should you do it if your seller's asking you to? Yes, but you should also be man or woman enough to tell them, we're not going to, and this is a conversation we have ahead of time. And you say, listen, because clearly you arrived at this price because they decided they wanted to be here. We showed up at their kitchen table with market and industry data that showed that they should be here, and you ended up maybe here, which is fine. And Mr. Lindsay, my concern is we're still outside that success window that the market showed us. So pick a number. I would go with 7 days right now. In 7 days, if my phone doesn't ring, or we don't have any showings or any offers, we're going to move towards the price improvement. Yes, and you can get it in writing. You could also make it part of your contract. So now you're going to do another open house because you have a price improvement. But don't go do another open house because they think you need to do more open houses. There's one internet. The whole world has seen the price. Nobody cares. That's why we're not having any conversations with anybody. Low inventory neighborhoods, mid-range price homes, which are huge. Like, if you can get a house right now, that's, God, anywhere in the 750 to 900 range in the Portsmouth area. Yeah, you'd have 1 million people in the driveway. The average price point around Portsmouth right now is 1.1. So you can get anything below the bridge right now, under 1 million, you'll be gangbusters. And the stuff that we're seeing west of 95, obviously that needs a hug. There's some properties that need a hug, but people will be willing to buy them because they're able to get in at 5, 6, whatever the prices are. Choose the best day and time, like we talked about. Read the room. Where are you? Are you near ball fields? Are you near, maybe it's a commuter open house. Monday to Friday, 5 to 7. This allows people to catch it on the way home from work. Saturday, Sunday, 11 to 1 or 2 to 4. There are benefits to morning and afternoon times. I think it's around ball games, around houses of faith. Pick your home by Monday or Tuesday of each week. I think Monday, you should know Monday which house you're working on. You should already be working on the project by Monday. It just gives you more time. You'll never be like, oh, we spent too much time getting ready for this open house. Said no one ever, ever. And if you're doing this regularly, if you looked at page 71 in Shift and you made that your playbook, you would start to get enough new listings over time with compounding interest. This could be just what your team does. Like, this is what I do. People will be on stage talking to Gary like, I do the 7th level open house or the 5th level open house or whatever you want to do. But a consistent open house delivery every weekend with every one of our new listings, because this is what's getting them sold. Alan Choggin. I know I'm saying that right. I want to make sure I'm saying that right. There's a story here. It's going to be story time. Where's my story? There it is. And these are all MREA podcast stories with people that have at some point talked to Gary and then eventually had a conversation with Jason Abrams. Alan Chargan built his real estate business on open houses, securing 5 deals from his first 2. His lead generation method isn't about getting the most foot traffic at open houses, but about attracting the right foot traffic. Alan quickly learned that while the newest homes on the market draw the biggest crowds, they also attract buyers who are already committed to an agent. So he developed a more nuanced strategy. In addition to new listings, he makes a point to host open houses at properties that have been on the market for a few weeks. This is where he finds the gold: buyers who are new to the market, seeking information, and not yet networking with a new agent. Alan also suggests varying types of houses, varying the types of houses you're holding open. If you open a mixture of multi-family, single-family condos and homes at different price points, you're likely to attract a diverse group of buyers. 2 clients looking for a 4-bedroom, 2 clients looking for a specific school district, and 2 more looking at condos will be easier to serve than 6 clients looking for the same type of house in the same school district. So choose your open houses wisely and realize that the newest, most expensive house isn't always the one that will serve you and your lead generations the best. And this is, they don't have the episode here or here. I apologize. That was with Jay. This is with Jay. Alan's interview is with Jay Papasan on Keller Williams' YouTube channel. So if you punch in KW YouTube and Alan Chargan, you'll be able to find that interview with Jay Papasan. Did you? Excellent. Day 2, marketing. Flyers. Every flyer should contain the following information: photos of the home, key details about the home and the neighborhood, your contact information, your preferred lender's contact information, and a call to action. Pretty cut and dried. Registration sheet, the paper registration sheet. This is simply a sheet of paper that people sign. Contacts will be manually entered into your database. Some people use iPads as well. I think people will look at an iPad. Certainly people, I have enough gray hair, I can say this. Certainly people of a certain generation might look at an iPad and be like, I don't know what this means. They feel like they're talking to the Ethernet and the internet, and they don't want their information out there. They're more comfortable with a piece of paper, and it might just be less challenging for people to do that. Having somebody manage that at the door, depending on the velocity of people coming through your open house, is important. Certainly during COVID, I mean, we had people during COVID who were buying deli wheels with tickets, because at that point, do you remember this, Ashley? Yep, I know for sure. Yeah, Allie and Haven definitely had a security. Yeah, and they would come out with a chalkboard with 22 written on it, and the people in the car got all excited and they had their deli ticket with 22. Yeah, and they would come up, put their booties on, their hazmat suit. They had to spit in a cup, and then you got rushed through the house. And some of the stuff too, from touring the houses during COVID that are brilliant, and you should still do it. Just turn the lights on everywhere. That's a given. You don't need to open kitchen cabinets. Like dishes and cereal are up in these cabinets. People get that. But one of the things that people did, so people didn't have to manhandle doorknobs, is just open all the closets. Tell your clients, don't use the closet as I'm going to chuck everything in there. So like if they can, and then you can just make it aware to people, like, listen, any closets that are able to be viewed are already open. Closets that are closed, we're asking for the privacy of the seller to please leave them closed. And you can put a note on the door that says this is a 6x8 semi walk-in closet, but maybe they have all their stuff stuffed in there. But those are good things to do that just make everything easier. Nobody's worried about opening doors or not opening doors. Lights are on already. So COVID was a horror show, but there's a lot of cool stuff that came out of it insofar as us and the way in which we do our business. Digital landing page. Build a custom landing page in Command, and the contacts are automatically added to your database when they sign in. This allows for easy follow-up. I do not hate. I think it's really cool. I've always loved when agents are just willing to go by 124applestreet.com. Like, it's $12 for the first year, and now you have that address. I think people are moving away from that now. It's just a QR code, but simple enough just to have a scanned QR code where people can just go and get everything signed in, find out information about the property. It's a one-step process, and usually it's behind something that they have to register So you're getting their information, which is huge. Examples of written agreement with proper consent language. Web form. By checking this box, you agree that Tim Lindsay, Keller Williams may contact you, like basically waiving the I'm on a do not call list. Paper form. By signing this form, you consent to receiving phone calls and texts from Tim Lindsay, Keller Williams, product services at this telephone number. I understand that my consent is not required to purchase a product or service, blah, blah, blah. Day 2 marketing scorecards. What do you think about the price? Too low, too high, or just right? Rate the location, rate the curb appeal. What were your favorite features? Not what did you think, what were your favorite features? So they've already embedded that into the conversation. Invite your database. And this is super simple. And if you don't like any of this stuff, or maybe you do, and I'm going to tell you to do something, but I guarantee this class is new enough, they've already done it. I guarantee they ran all this through chat or something. And if you don't like the way this sounds, because this was acceptable to Gary and Jason when they built this class, then take some of these, build your own paragraph, and then run that back through chat and tell it to be warmer or this or that, and take it from there. Do we have stuff in the chat? Okay.
Tell Candace I'm sending her an article.
Candace, you're getting an article from Ashley.
Step by step, exactly how to do it.
I'm sure the chat's loaded with, can you please stop telling mustache stories, which I will. Oh,
Okay. Video for Alan in there.
oh, perfect. Thank you. Perfect. Perfect. I won't keep you long. I just wanted to share some exciting news, something exciting. I'm hosting an open house this weekend at a great home. I'd love for you to come by and say hi if you're around, Saturday, Sunday with the time and all that kind of stuff. Think you'd enjoy seeing this. Plus there'll be snacks. Again, I'm going back to the hour before the actual public open house, do something private for the neighborhood. It doesn't have to be cost prohibitive, just something special. So you're getting them together. You're making them feel like a VIP as opposed to just everybody else that's going to come through their neighborhood. Gives them a sense of ownership. I think if you door knock the neighborhood before your open house and you figure out who the straw in the drink is in that neighborhood, you'll get everyone to go. Because you might knock on a few doors and you get Katie and Jim and Doug and Allison, but then you finally talk to Laura, and Laura's like the social straw in the drink of that neighborhood, and she decides she's going, you'll get everyone to go. So you got to figure out who the social captain is in the neighborhood, become really good friends with them, and you'll drive more engagement for sure, which is going to benefit you in the long run. Inviting the neighbors. Hi, my name is with the Market Center. I'm holding property 123 Main Street open Sunday 2 to 4. Wanted to give all the neighbors to come take a peek. Will you be around to stop by? Awesome. Hope to see you then. And then feedback. The questions I would always ask when I was talking to the neighbors, if you don't mind me asking, Mr. Lindsay, why did you move here? What was the impetus for moving here? And then why have you stayed? And then keeping that in your notes. So every time I talk to them, I can say, well, you moved in here for the school system. You guys stayed because you love the association so much, blah, blah, blah. And every time I talk to them, I just keep double checking that's why they're still here. That's okay. While I have you, would you like me to get an updated equity analysis on your home? And ask them that. They'll probably say no, but eventually they'll say yes at some point, because you've wowed them with what a great realtor you are, because you keep showing up. Vendor partnership benefits. Expands your reach by tapping into vendor networks. Share the cost of marketing and refreshments. Adds value to the open house experience. Food, staging, giveaways, pre-approvals. Strengthens local business relationships. Increases the chance of referrals from the vendor in the future. Invite a vendor. Hi, Brad, it's Tim. We're hosting this, blah, blah. I need you there. Bring a hockey stick, bring your computer so you can pre-approve people. There's a million reasons, right? Yeah, great idea. Even if you don't do a lender, which I think is one of the best people that you could have there from a pre-approval standpoint. If it's a house that you know definitely needs a hug, maybe you bring a designer. You know, it depends. Whatever you think it might need, having somebody there, having another allied resource there is going to be worth your while. So they can answer questions, and they should want to be cross-pollinated with your traffic. And yes, these are consumers coming in that you don't necessarily have a relationship with in a business sense, but you're giving them a chance to meet more people.
Stager. I feel like a lot of times they're easier to find maybe than a specific designer because those types of people tend to have an eye for things.
Yeah, you know what we can do in this room? Yep. Yeah, they're doing the heavy lifting for you for sure. Post to social media. Who'da thunk? Include the following: days and times, the address, key details of the home, square footage, bedrooms and bathrooms, any unique features, and a call to action. Click to get a sneak peek, come an hour early, whatever the case. The video that was cool a while ago, people are still doing it, and it's still valid. Not that you can't see pictures on the inside, but when the agent sort of does the walk around of the entire property, they get to the front door, and then they don't show you the inside of the house because you have to be there on Saturday to see it. Again, you can see pictures, but I think people enjoy walkthroughs for depth of field and all that kind of stuff, because pictures can be very deceiving. The photographers are getting very good at making the kitchen look like it's 30 feet long, and it's not. Core buyer prediction marketing with AI. You're a new agent holding an open house for a property that isn't your listing. The goal is to create social media posts and ads that attract the most likely buyer. Use the following property details to create a profile of that buyer: age, lifestyle, interest, and suggest where and what they should search for online. So you can go in property details, link to the listing, asking price, bedrooms, standout features, owner's motivations, and then your observations, the home's vibe, the neighborhood, the price and style. And then you could run like, give me a demographic I should be focused on for this house. Who do you think the prime buyer would be for this property? And then see if there's a correlation between local business nearby or a group that you should be talking to. That would make sense. Set out signs. We're putting out 20 to 40 signs, or however many you have. 20 to 40 might be a heavy number, but we've done some stuff in some really dense neighborhoods, and we're trying to get people off the main drag, and it's 3 rights and 5 lefts. You got to hit every corner so people don't get lost. And it's a little bit different now. Yes, can somebody punch in 123 Main Street into the Waze on their phone or their HUD in their car? Yes, but not everybody's going to be doing that. And honestly, if they have that up, but they don't need to look at the HUD on their car because they can just follow the signs you put out, it's not the worst. Ask the agent for whom you're hosting to use their signs if you do not have your own. If you think you have enough, add more. Put signs at all directional stops, major intersections, entrances to the neighborhood, and several throughout the neighborhood. You want to create a path for people driving in your area to see them. Put them up as early as the area allows. Again, checking with your local town. Jazz up the signs with balloons or pinwheels. Place larger flag signs and additional signs in the yard. I think Tom Ferry's the one that has a whole bunch of he has his agents make signs that say, do not come in. And they have like 15 signs in the front yard that say, do not come in. Because obviously people are just like, okay, I gotta go meet this person. And again, you got to make sure that your seller is okay with that, because your seller could be like, hey, my neighbor just called. You have 15 signs in my front yard that says do not come in. What the hell's that all about? They might not understand or agree for that matter. So we got to be on the same page with our seller as well. Educate yourself as the local economist of choice with AI. You're a real estate news reporter. Your mission is to uncover the most crucial and under the radar residential housing news for the market. The information must be strictly from the past. Roughly 30 days, and be valuable for agents' business strategy and client education. Your search should focus on specificity. Find actionable non-mainstream information, avoiding well-known topics like general mortgage rate changes or national market summaries. Relevance. Look for regional policy changes, niche economic indicators, or market innovations that directly affect real estate sales or property values in the location. Sources. Use only reputable industry, government, and local news sites. The implication: the final report should provide insights that agents can use to justify pricing, manage client expectations, and find new opportunities. Put it in a deliverable format with a headline. The date must be within the past timeline. Summary: a brief overview of the news and its potential market impacts in 2 to 3 sentences. The relevance: explain why this is important for agents and their clients, and then actionable advice. Direct, concrete information. Hosting the open house. Block off the day. Excellent idea. Arrive early. I think without fail, we always wanted to get there. Knowing that you're stopping, I used to go to Hannah Foods to get balloons and cookies. We would only do normally balloons, cookies, water for the most part for our weekend stuff. If we're doing a broker open house, and things have changed because obviously everybody's different, but if we're doing a broker open house, there would be cheese and crackers, charcuterie, probably a bucket full of small personal open wines and stuff like that. You're not doing that for the public, obviously. And I think a lot of people, depending on the crowd and the time, people have gotten away from alcohol sometimes too, but it's obviously going to be a different crowd. But you should know that you're going to be leaving from your last stop before you get to your open house, and then knowing that you want to get to your open house. At the very least, I would say if I'm going to throw a few more signs up, I want to get there probably about an hour to 45 before it gets started. If you have time and you're in the kitchen twiddling your thumbs, and you won't be, because don't forget, if it's a 12 o'clock open house, those first people are pulling up at 11:40. Guaranteed. Require that sign in. Some people will refuse, and it's going to be up to you on how you're going to handle that. I know people will stick their heels in the sand and be like, if you're not going to sign, you can't come in. It's a courtesy of the seller. I think at this point, people are pretty cool at this point. Like, how many things did I blow through over the weekend? Like, I'm getting so many push notifications about, can I be allowed to do this? Like, what was, I think it was Arcos. I think it was my golf software. Was like, can I know your location at all times? I'm like, yes. Like, I don't know why you need to know what I'm doing when where on a Saturday when I'm not at the golf course, but I've told every app, yes. Go in my sock drawer. Yes, look at everything. Go ahead. And I know I'm a rare breed. I know a lot of people are like, oh no, I don't like that. I don't like this. I don't want that information out there. I completely get that. I think we're seeing less pushback on the sign-in sheets. You're still going to have some pushback on the sign-in sheets. I don't know that it's a hill to die on. And you can have your standards and be like, I appreciate that. If you're not going to register, I can't have you on the property for liability's sake. That's a complete sentence. And it's a lead indicator. If they're being persnickety about the sign-in sheet, they're probably going to be an asshole for the rest of the rest of the transaction might be challenging as well. Number 4, hand out your scorecards to people that are engaged. And then number 5, pay attention to attendees' needs and have great conversations. Again, if you've got a larger property, somebody's on the 3rd floor, somebody's on the 2nd floor, you're on the main floor, I would not follow people around. I think if they're showing up with their agent, they're cool. I think for the most part, they're good. You should have prepped the house to have stuff put away. I don't want people going through the master suite, primary suite, sorry, America, the primary suite, and heading out with my owner's engagement ring, and I would assume it would be on her finger anyway, but we should be pretty good. And there's cameras in most houses. And even if we are told there's not a camera in the house, we should assume there's a camera in the house. And that's something we should be cognizant as well as the listing agent or the open house agent. You're probably in a house that is being watched and listened to at all times, which I know you could forget and all that kind of stuff. So we need to be mindful about what we're saying as the representative for the seller. Because if you're holding the house open for the agent who's a listing agent, you're still representing the seller. So just presume it's Big Brother and you're being watched, which I know can be strenuous at points, but we need to remember that. Aaron Holloway and Alan Chagan. Hang on. Where's my story? There's my story. Am I keeping you up, Marion? You good? We're doing good? We're awesome. Who do we have online? Damon? Who? Dominic. Yeah, Damon. I said Damon. It was a rough weekend. A lot of gunshots. You don't get that down where you live. I'm in Stratford. I have 4 neighbors almost immediately around me. Everyone owns a cannon. It's unbelievable. Yeah, no, I'm an asshole. But I don't remember. I've been up here permanently since dear Lord. Yeah, so, yeah, just a lot of gunshots, a lot of. And all I'm thinking the whole time, because it's been like, it started like early last week. It's so expensive now. Like ammunition's expensive. No, ammunition, yes, and, yes, yeah, yes. No, 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 like just ammunition. Like, oh, no, no, I've got neighbors that were just shooting. Like they're in the, oh yeah, they're in the, oh no, I'm dead serial. That wasn't fireworks. The bottle rockets,
Like, here it comes.
the bottle rockets. Oh, that, yeah, bottle rockets, yes. Oh, no kid. Yeah, sorry for everybody at home. We're way off track, but welcome to America. No, in Stratford, I'm talking about real cannons. And oh no, 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 that was happening. But all, I don't know. Neil across the street has one. What? eBay? Yep. Timu. Probably not. He lost all of his fingers. Oh yeah. Oh, the fireworks are the least of it. Fireworks are the least of it. Just oh, gunshots. Constant. Yeah, my next door neighbor, 2 houses down, his son-in-law is a Navy SEAL, and he works at SIG, and his son-in-law's a Navy SEAL. Everybody's got target practice in their backyard. I'm the only one with a sedan, and I've got stuff, but I don't do it at home. I don't need to. Oh my God. It's a bunch. So it was a very busy week in Stratford. At least on my side of the world, that's for sure. Yep. No, my sister's my sister was drinking spritzers in a golf cart. Very different, very different. Yeah. Both Aaron and Alan plan, practice, and strategize on making open houses repeatable and successful. Erin Holloway and her team elevate their open houses by focusing on the details. Beyond the essential preparations, they find 2 key elements that consistently make a memorable impression: festive balloons and wrapped chocolates. Oh, I like her. Balloons and chocolates, yes. Erin calls balloons adult catnip. This is fantastic. Oh my God, adult catnip, because they attract people to the signs, which in turn leads them to their open house. Her team also finds that people are much more likely to take wrapped candy, in particular good chocolate, than cookies or something else that is open. All right. She's picking on my stale cookies. As a bonus, unlike cookies, it's easy to keep the uneaten chocolates for the next open house. Also true. But I'm also a sucker for the what do they call that? It's not the Toll House. There's a brand. No, there's a brand of cookie at Hannah Foods, and I can't think, they're like Soft House or something. I don't know what they're called, but they're always frosted. You know what I'm talking about. Yes, they have an official name, which we're going to get to the bottom of. I know everybody at home is waiting with bated breath. Yes, we're going to get right to the bottom of it. God bless Hannah Foods. As a bonus, unlike cookies, it's easy to keep them, the uneaten chocolates. What? Loft House? Yeah, thank you. That's it. Yep. As a fat kid, I'm disappointed in myself that I didn't remember the name. Yeah, Loft House cookies is so good. Because it's the frosting to cookie ratio that they've nailed it. Yes, they've definitely over frosted. And that's a fat kid saying that. Remember Alan Chargan, who got 5 deals from his first 2 open houses. Alan uses specific strategies for guest interaction at open houses. He greets everyone promptly, learns their name, and uses it in conversation to build immediate rapport. His favorite question to open with is, how did you hear about the open house today? Asking someone if they have a real estate agent as an initial question can feel too daunting. If they tell you they saw a flyer or saw it on Zillow, that might give you a hint as to whether they have an agent or not. Likewise, if they say their agent sent it to them, you'll know right away. That's perfect. Plan, practice, and strategize to make your open houses repeatable and successful. I used to always say, when I was talking to people and I didn't know if they were pre-approved yet, I would always say, Mr. Lindsay, is this going to be a cash transaction for you? No one's insulted if you assume they're using cash. And Alan did the same thing. He asked a different question to get the data he was looking for. So I would ask, is this going to be a cash transaction? 99% of the time, people would be like, no, Timmy, we need to talk to a lender. I now know they're not cash and they need to talk to a lender and they haven't yet, right? And then I would additionally ask, will this be the only home you're buying this summer? And now people are hanging up thinking, okay, he clearly works with people who are cash and he clearly works with people that are buying multiple houses. Why is that second question important right now? Because people are doing a lot of stuff, multi-generational homes, right? We're doing ADUs. We're dropping tiny houses in backyards that have the ability to have the offsets to drop tiny houses. It's a great question to ask. Nobody's going to be insulted that you assume they were cash. And it helps you get the data points you're looking for without saying, are you pre-approved? That sounds judgy. That sounds like you're looking for a number. That they feel like you're asking, are they going to spend enough money to actually work with you? As opposed to, are you cash on this? No one's going to be insulted. Just ask the questions because you're going to have to find it out eventually. Day 6, hosting the open house. Use the Property Visualizer Pro prompt from the AI playbook. There are AI playbooks for sale. If you go to Keller Inc., I think we're on the 4th playbook now. And I do believe we might have some. If you go check with Kaylee, she may have some in the building. And again, there's about 4 playbooks now. She might not have a copy of each one of them. And if you want to go grab from her, she can just throw it on your agent bill. You don't have to worry about going through Keller Inc. because Keller Inc., love you, Gary, is ridiculous. The shipping through Keller Inc. is ridiculous. I'm going to say that one more time for the people in Texas at 1221 Mopac. The shipping through Keller Inc. is ridiculous there. So anytime you're looking for anything, any of the Keller books, I would go to Amazon. Go to Amazon first. When you look for the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, it's going to populate all the other books that might be connected to that, like Shift and Hold and Flip and The One Thing and the Rookie Real Estate Agent. And shipping, historically, if you're a member, is free. You're going to get it quicker. The playbooks are not on there, I don't believe. But again, we might have them in-house. So go talk to Kaylee if you're interested. Act as a construction technical expert with AI, and you ask all these questions of it, right? Act as a construction technical expert in residential housing and construction. You have deep knowledge in identifying and dating homes, appliances, HVAC systems, water heaters, stoves, washers, dryers by serial numbers. You also understand home construction materials, structural components, and code compliance indicators across decades. Your goal is to help real estate agents educate buyers on the history, quality, and condition of a property based on visible elements and appliance models. Offer insights that highlight potential repair needs, energy efficiency ratings, or vintage charm. Vintage charm. I love that. It's quaint. And translate technical details into plain English for home buyers. Great AI tool there. Day 6, open house role play greeting. Welcome in. I'm Tim. What brings you by today? Right? Obvious question. They're going to just say, if they say, I'm just looking. We typically find that people come to open houses either to look for a home of their own or find value for their house. Do you live near here? Or feel free to take a look around and let me know if you have any questions. Would you like to hear about the house's highlights before you get started, or offer a hand? Thanks so much for stopping by. Have you been out looking for homes for a while, or are you just starting the process? Because at that point, if we can, we want to find out if they're working with somebody. At the same time, too, if they hit the sign-in sheet and the sign-in sheet has the ability for them to tell you they're working with somebody, that would make your life easier as well. Follow-ups. Feel free to take a look around. If you have any questions about the home or the neighborhood, we're happy to help. Are you currently working with an agent? There it is. Are you selling or your current home in order to buy? What are you looking for in a home? Is this the area you're hoping to buy in? How did you hear about the open house? Simple questions, easy questions. But first and foremost, we definitely want to find out if they're working with somebody. And they would have probably put that on your hit sheet if you have it on your hit sheet. And having that on the hit sheet is so you can communicate with that agent. As you're moving through this career, I promise you, when you get that phone call, when Dominic calls Candy and says, hey, just had an open house, the Lindsays came through, they said they're working with you. I just wanted to communicate with you to see if they do want a second showing, if they want something private, we can do it later today. Like, that is going to be one of the greatest feelings of leverage in your career, is when you train your buyers to go out on their own, to communicate their relationship with you, and then have all the heavy lifting done. And now you're getting a phone call from the other agent for your second showing. You know what comes after second showings? Offers, which is fantastic. So the more that we do that, the more we educate, there was an M in there, The more we educate our buyers to go shopping without us and communicate their relationship with us is going to be massive leverage for you. Because you're getting that phone call in the car with your family going to do something else, which is what you should be doing on the weekends to the best of your ability as much as possible. Not going to open houses with your current clients. That's madness. Let them go shopping on their own. It'll be fine. It's going to be okay. As an open house greeting should be friendly and low pressure, build some rapport, open up a casual but useful conversation, be respectful and informative, offer space for exploration of the home while remaining engaged and available throughout through body language and tone. You want to respect the visitor's comfort zone, open the door to conversation without pressure, gather information while staying professional and warm, and stay off your phone to appear interested in visitors. If they're walking up to talk to you and you're staring at your phone, you're doing it wrong. Your phone should be obviously with you. It could be in your hand, but you shouldn't be looking at it on a regular basis. Like there's nothing more important than the person in front of you. And I'm going to say the Cody Gibson quote because he said it about a year ago and it's so true. In this age of technology, we're going to be more successful when we're more human with more humans more often. And if you're giving them that respect, this is a lead indicator for them as well. When they're engaging with you for the first time and they see that you're not on your phone and you're giving them your attention, they're getting a sense of what it's going to be like to work with you. If when they come up to talk to you, you're on your phone and you're not paying attention to them and you somehow, through a stroke of luck, become engaged with them in a client and service relationship, and then at some point they text you and you don't get right back to them, their seminal thought is, when I first met them, they were on their phone. They're always on their phone, but now that I need them, they're not on their phone. So when you have a house full of humans, be a human in that space. Be a human in that space. If you want something where you can go over and take notes or take in data points, have your MacBook on the island in the kitchen. Do your work there. But try to stay off your phone in front of the clients and be available. They want to meet you, the person. And I guarantee it'll blow up in your face later. When we met, you were on your phone, but you can't take my call now. What's that adage when you're dating somebody? Oh, you have time to post, but you can't text me back? I love that one. Nice picture on the beach. Who's that guy? Host the open house. Safety. Tell someone what you're doing. Have a means of communication. Keep your belongings in the car. Require sign-ins. Greet all guests and do a gut check. There it is. Do the gut check. Turn the lights on. Meet the neighbors. Stay aware. Park in a safe spot. I think whether we're doing showings or listing appointments or open houses, we should not be in the driveway. We should not be in the driveway. I would want to keep the driveway clear. I think civilians are not going to be cognizant of that. I would put something at the end of the driveway that keeps people out of the driveway and let the driveway be clear of cars and encourage people to park on the street. Open the velvet blinds. And again, all your paths of egress should be open, depending on the temperature, obviously, to get air going through if it's this time of year. But even if it's the dead of winter, having the back deck shoveled and having that door open. So if you need to go out the back door to get away from someone, and I'm not saying this to freak people out, but like we want to make sure all of our paths of egress are opened and cleared for people to move around. Follow-up and win clients. Follow-up tips. If attendees were not automatically added to your database through your registration sheet, add them and make notes on which open house they attended. Contact everyone who attended the open house as soon as possible, not the next Wednesday, not in a couple of weeks, not I'm thinking about it, as soon as possible. This is your opportunity to note the neighbors, the looky-loos, and interested buyers to determine what follow-up plans you should use. The following Monday, call the same people you called when you circled prospecting the neighborhood before the open house to provide feedback. Offer a market analysis and ask for a referral. Every call must comply with the TCPA and any applicable state telemarketing laws. Add follow-up plans to every new contact. Make sure you have a proper consent on the form for your follow-up plans. Will include calls or texts. So people are saying, yes, if you're calling me about this property or texting me about this property, it's cool. And this goes right back to when you're having these conversations, think about the drive-through experience, and I know I'm a masshole and I love my Dunkin' Donuts, and I have a cold brew marinating on my desk right now. And I'm not necessarily a Starbucks. I don't dislike Starbucks. I would have a conundrum if they were both next to our building. Dunkin' Donuts is winning on proximity. I drive right past the building, I go get my cold brew, I come back, I go into my office, and that's it. Anyway, my point is, I do enjoy the kids over at Dunkin'. They do not have the same training that the kids at Starbucks do. The kids at Starbucks are clearly trained to not ask close-ended questions. If you think about when you get in line at Starbucks, and McDonald's devised this ages ago. This is the class you didn't ask for. Welcome. McDonald's devised this ages ago. Rather than having one window where everything happens, that makes you feel like you're waiting. So McDonald's 1,000 years ago designed the order, pay, pickup window, right? And Starbucks is the same. Starbucks, first thing you'll see on the sign at Starbucks is please order your food first. They want you to put the food that they have to heat up in the microwave. It's true. There's no artisanal oven in that building. The food they're heating up in the microwave or the flash heater, whatever they're doing, they want you to order the food first, and then they'll make you drink afterward. Then you get to the next window where you are paying for said food, and then you're going up to the next window after that to get food, and that's usually where there's a little bit of a wait, usually not a terrible wait, and it's not perceived as a horrible wait because they stay at the window and they talk to you for quite a bit. My experience is they usually stay at the window, like that person at the window is there to entertain you while the other people are juggling your feta sandwich and your cold brew. The beauty in that is they're not like, hey, how are you? And you're like, good, and you're just checking boxes. They actually say, hey, what do you got going on today? You know, and obviously in the morning, they know most people are headed in the office, but what do you guys got going on today? Where are you heading? And you're going to say golf or the beach or whatever. It's an open-ended question that keeps a conversation going and gets people talking about what's going on. And it helps them get to know you a little bit better. If they start remembering names and faces, it's Saturday again. That turns into where are you golfing today? Not what are you doing today? And that makes a difference. So if you're having those kind of conversations, think about your open house like a drive-through. You've got a lot of people that are coming through. They're just circling the building and leaving. Are you asking them like, hey, good to see you, have a great day? Or are you asking, hey, where are you guys heading after this? Because maybe they're like, we're going to another open house. We're going to meet our agent. We're going to talk to our lender. Or they're going to say something that's at least going to start a conversation that you can keep it going, get some more information, and build rapport. As opposed to, thanks for coming, enjoy your cookie, have a great weekend. That gets nothing accomplished. Contact everyone. We talked about that. I apologize. We went through all this. Oh, Ashley Force. I thought if we're being honest, I thought it said Ashley Fierce. I'm like, that sounds like an adult entertainment name. It's an adult entertainment name. Welcome to the stage, Ashley Fierce. Ashley's persistent follow-up. Everybody's like, this is not the class I expected on a Monday. We're here. Follow-up is what won her this client and all the referral business she brought with her. Remember, the fortune is in the follow-up. And we'll find her story now. And I talk about this all the time. I think we fall down on our face all the time because we don't do the follow-through. Follow-up is important, but you're going to get to a point through your follow-up when you keep having conversations. Somebody finally said to Ashley, hey, can you do this for me? And she actually followed through. That's where the fortune is. So Ashley Force, a real estate agent in Oregon, met a prospective client at an open house. Ashley engaged with the visitor. They chatted a bit, and the visitor shared her contact information. The following week, Ashley followed up with a call to thank her for coming to the open house. The call went to voicemail. Ashley put the visitor on a smart plan that included some emails, text messages, invitations to other open houses, crazy, and some occasional calls. Calls continued to go to voicemail. No texts or emails were responded to. And the woman unsubscribed from getting texts or emails. Excellent. Ashley didn't think any more about it until 2 years later. One early evening, there was a knock on Ashley's door. When she opened it, there was a woman who said, I'm sorry to bother you, but are you by chance a real estate agent? As they got into conversation, Ashley remembered that this was the woman she had met at her open house who never responded to any of her calls, text messages, or emails. The woman explained that when they met, Ashley told her that they were neighbors and she lived in the blue house on the corner of X and Y streets. The woman couldn't remember Ashley's name, but she did remember where she said she lived. The woman shared that she was so impressed by Ashley at the open house, as well as her follow-up, which she unsubscribed from, but anyway, she wanted to hire her to list her house. Ashley ended up listing the woman's house for $700,000. It turns out that the woman was recently retired judge of 30 years who happens to know a lot of other judges and lawyers, some of whom became clients. Ashley's persistent follow-up is what won her the client and all the referral business she brought with her. Remember, the fortune is in the follow-up. It's funny she unsubscribed. But with a legal background, she remembered the details of where she actually lived and then door knocked her house. That's amazing. Crazy amazing. Again, the open house system review. Day 1, identify an open house to hold open, set that date, post on the MLS on day 2, create marketing materials as well. Day 3, we're going to invite people. I'm going to repeat that. You're going to invite people to your open house. And that doesn't mean I put it on MySpace. You're going to pick up the phone, the 80,000-pound phone, and you're going to invite people. People that you know that personally that live nearby. People that you know have clients who are interested in the property by doing that reverse search through Prime MLS. You're going to circle prospect. That means you're going to go to that neighborhood and primarily door knock for sure. You could also call, but I would just go door knock because there's not a do not knock list yet. I'm sure it's coming. And then you're going to partner with vendors who can join you on Saturday or Sunday to be there as an additional human for security reasons and as an allied resource and more value for the consumer. Day 4, post on social media channels. I agree, day 4, yes, and I also probably would have posted as soon as I knew I had a date. I would post. Day 4, you could post more, right, and put more stuff out there. Maybe more additional content, maybe some meatier content on day 4. I would probably post day 1 on social media that it was coming a week out. Day 5, put up directional signs. Day 6 is day of. We're blocking off the day. We're having people sign in. We're adapting to the situation, the weather, the crowds, the lack of crowds. Pay attention, stay off our phones, stay engaged with the humans face to face, and of course, stay safe. Day 7, we're putting people into our database and we're calling people back and thanking them for joining us, asking if they have additional questions. Or we are then, and probably this would happen day 6 afternoon, I'm calling fellow agents saying, hey, the Lindsays came through. Let me know if you need anything. Because that's going to turn into a second showing, a private showing, and probably an offer. Time blocking the open house, all that stuff is here. We're talking about the MRE Energy Plan too. If you're not listening to the MREA podcast, a new episode drops every Monday. And the One Thing podcast is with Jay Papazan. So Jay and Jason do a great job with both of theirs. The MRE Energy Plan, this is Gary making sure that you're taking care of yourself. Obviously, this is all your work stuff. This could be you learning. This could be you doing nutritional stuff, fitness stuff, right? And then in the evening time, God willing, there's some time for yourself. If you ever listen to Gary teach Quantum Leap, he talks about the fact that I think people get stuck in these 3 pillars of life where as a kid you're learning, and then in your adult life you're earning, and then eventually you stop working and you get to play. And Gary's contention is that we should do every day, we should have time for ourselves to learn and then earn and then play. Time block open houses, all your lead sources, become a contact in command, add tags, create custom fields. The opportunity becomes immediate or eventual. So are you talking to them right away and finding out they're ready to go? That can be immediate business. Eventual business, the smart plan starts the nurture process. Buyers, you're going to send property searches. Sellers, you're going to do the neighborhood nurture for them. And you're going to reach out to recently active and then call quarterly in a TCPA compliant way. I know we talk about the Telephone Consumer Protection Act a lot. If you're not talking to people that you know and love and trust, anybody who's an unmet, we should be running them through donotcall.gov. It's an expensive mistake to make. Please don't make it. Gary's not writing you a check. Nate's not writing you a check. Ashley, you writing a check? No, she's going to Disney. So Ashley's not writing the check either. Role play the dialogue to request for referrals. Here's another thing that we should be considering too. If you're not using ChatGPT as a role play partner, I would recommend that you start doing that. As simple as just bringing her up. Let's do this. Hang on a second. And we're going to go over a door knocking conversation that we can have. Stand by. Hey, chat, I've got an open house coming up this Saturday. I'm going to door knock the neighborhood on Thursday to invite the neighbors to a private event that's going to happen an hour before the open. So the open's going to be from 12 to 2. I'm going to do something private for the neighbors from 11 to 12. And when I door knock, I'm eventually going to get to the point where I invite them to that. Could we go over a door knocking conversation?
Absolutely. Let's picture it. When you knock on the door and someone opens, you could start with a warm, friendly introduction, something like, "Hi, I'm Timothy, and I'm hosting an open house right here in the neighborhood this Saturday. Before the public open from 11 to 12, I'm inviting neighbors to a private preview. I'd love for you to stop by, meet some of the other neighbors, and get a first look. Would that be something you might enjoy?" Then, depending on their reaction, you can chat about the house, the community, and ensure they feel personally welcomed. How does that feel as a flow for you?
Perfect. I appreciate that. So I just shut her off. But if you wanted to, you could go through all of that. You could say, can we work on me door knocking, and maybe I get to a house where somebody's grumpy and they don't want to come to my open house, and work through that dialogue, right? I think if you're not using chat or any of the AI tools to run your script and role play, because most of us are probably not doing it enough with a fellow agent, and a lot of people don't want to do it with a fellow agent because their ego gets in the way and they don't want to screw up in front of a fellow agent. So long story short, too many people aren't doing role play or script practice because everyone's afraid to look bad. And I get that. Everybody wants to look good and be right. So turn your phone on, pop on ChatGPT, and have those conversations with the computer. The thing that you need to remember, we were going down to Granite Links to Quincy, and Kaylee and I were on 93, and we left her on, and we were just talking for a while. There's a server in Arizona that's full of a lot of dirt, and like she chimed in. Like 20 minutes later, she started talking, and Kaylee lost it. Yeah, so also you need to remember to shut off ChatGPT, or she's going to know all your deep, dark secrets, which is not great. Calling your sphere, calling expireds, calling FSBOs. You can have that conversation with ChatGPT. Hey, Chat, it's Timmy. I'm going to be calling some expireds. Can you pretend to be an expired listing? I'm going to call. I need you to be grumpy, be whatever, and then just take it from there. And if it starts to go too easy, I've done it before, and like they're just not fighting back at all, just stop and say, hey, can we start again? Can you be a little more grumpy? Can you push back more? Can you give me more objections? And they'll do it. The thing is, too, they're going to start to learn your style. So you got something really cool, really slick that you love, that you think works. You're going to say it, and they're going to come up with one more objection because they've heard it before. Because don't forget, you're building this relationship with your AI tool. And if you don't want to use AI, that's fine too. I just think it's a great resource. If you're in the car for 30 minutes, the fact that you can do it hands-free and have a conversation and work on your conversation, so when you do talk to a human, you're prepared to engage. Yeah, 4,000%. Yep. Yep. If you're not, yeah, we have both of those links. Ashley makes a great point. We have both of those links. If you look at our morning news, we have James Shaw in there at 8 o'clock because he starts the Facebook call at 8 o'clock. For those of you that don't know, the green room opens at like 7:30. So at 7:30, you can click the link because we have the Zoom link for James Shaw there as well. Because sometimes the Zoom link will fill up and get to 1,000 people. Then you have to go to the Facebook link. Facebook and the official call start at 8. The green room conversation starts at 7:30. And it will feel like its own phone call. Yes, and it's also just space to go in there, and people are sometimes just chatting. James isn't necessarily dominating that entire 30 minutes. He'll probably come in at about 7:40 or so, but it's a great time to go in and meet people. Because what you need to remember is in that room, you've got people from all over the planet are jumping on that call. You've got Hawaii agents in a 7:30 phone call. That's 2:30. It's 2:30 in the morning. So you can't tell me I can't find anybody to work with. Now, that might work for you too. Like maybe like, okay, they're probably, honestly, jumping on that call. Now, I know a lot of them will go because they love the live aspect. Don't forget, he has now made every one of his daily calls is a podcast as well. So they could be listening to it later, but stands to reason you have people from Hawaii to the East Coast on that call. So you can find people all across the country, because I'm a huge proponent of find somebody outside the market center. I think if you start to do lead generation script calls with somebody here at 463, you probably already have a prior relationship. You start to let each other off the hook, and I don't think that's wildly beneficial. Just my 2 cents.
All brokerages, not just.
Yeah, yes, another great point Ashley makes. James pivot shift ahead call that has now been going since COVID. That is agnostic. So you have people on that call that aren't Keller either. All brokerages are welcome, which is another reason that you should tell all your friends at every brokerage they should be on that call. It's a fantastic resource. So how many two-way conversations did you have, right? And this is what we'll be talking about at 12 o'clock today in just about an hour on the Midday Protocol. Did you discover anything relevant? These are all questions coming from the thing we didn't just do, but ask yourself, did you discover anything relevant to the current or future real estate needs? There were probably a lot of conversations available this weekend. Maybe you had some, maybe you didn't. I would like to think that nobody shied away from a conversation. If real estate's coming up at a family or a friend's event, and you're not taking over the conversation, not in a domineering way, but we have to defend our industry. I always pick on Fat Uncle Tony, but if you let Fat Uncle Tony with his plate of potato salad like dominate the conversation, you didn't do yourself any favors this weekend. You had a chance. If you were out and about, I'm sure more than 2 or 3 people asked you about how's work, how's the industry, and it's how we re-engage and flesh out that conversation that's going to be important moving forward. What felt like a win in your conversations? What challenges did you face? These are all the questions that we're going to go over today with Midday Protocol. Feel free to join us, kwbreakthroughclub.com today at 12. Use AI as a role play partner. We just talked about that. And you can go in and just tell chat exactly what you want to do and who you want them to play. And they'll take it from there. Open houses are one of the best lead generation methods to put you in contact with those actively looking to buy or sell. A great open house happens by utilizing a system. Again, page 71 in the Shift book is a great resource. There's also 2 or 3 different people that are highlighted in the 4 AI, in the 4 playbooks that are now available that are doing open house systems that have been wildly successful. It's not about the actual event, it's about the preparations of the event. Not that the open house isn't fruitful. You'll probably have your best conversations leading up to it while you're prepping for it and talking to people and inviting them to that. So, deep thoughts on that. Anybody at home with questions, comments, or concerns in the chat, or if you want to unmute and yell. Okay. Closing, learning application. Find an agent to shadow in an open house to see how a seasoned agent prepares. And I would say always do this. If you've never done an open house or haven't done an open house for a particular agent, I would shadow them first and figure out what their standard is. And again, I'll pick on agents. You know, you'll have a seasoned agent that looks at you and says, okay, you're just getting started. I'm going to have you do a 7th level open house. And they've never done a 3-level open house, if we're being honest. So go figure out what they want done, how they want it done, and make sure they explain to you and give you some sort of a process you can fall back on so you can execute it to their standard. Scout out your own open houses to hold next week. Start asking people right now what's coming up this weekend. If you can find somebody today that has something for you this Saturday or Sunday, I think that's a great start. Begin to build your own flyers, registration sheets, paper or digital, and scorecards. Honestly, best practice, people that do open houses, ask them what they use, and then just make your own copy of what they already have. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. Continue reaching out to people who know, like, and trust you until you have had at least 10 real estate conversations. That's the goal of this class, and we have at least 10 conversations a day. Be sure all contacts you reached out to today are in command Even if you didn't get to speak with them, add tags, tasks, and smart plans to each. Make sure you have a proper consent of your smart plans will include calls and texts and that they're okay with that. And be ready to share your progress report at the beginning of our next session or today at 12 if you join us at 12 o'clock for the midday protocol. Number of contacts you've added to your database. How many calls did you make that were TCPA compliant? Number of real estate conversations you had, conversations or interactions. Real estate follow-up opportunities. Don't forget, when we're doing follow-up, we don't say follow-up. We don't say checking in. Bad language. People will feel like you're checking a box. And then any challenges you've had, and then ahas. What do you got, Marion? Any questions, comments, or concerns? Mhm. Yes. Yep. Yep. Well, and once you've done it a number of times, it becomes a system. And you no longer have to go back like, what did I do last time? You just go run the same play again. This is what I do on Mondays, right? Yep. Anybody at home, deep thoughts? Do we have anybody at home with deep thoughts? All right, kids, we are back next Monday, 9 a.m. On the Zooms, and in the room, we'll be doing social media. You drive a lot of that one, don't you? Look at you. You look at me like I'm crazy. No, I'm saying you're going to help with that one a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm gonna do all of it. I'm gonna do all of it. I think you're gonna talk. You're gonna talk a little bit. A little bit. The bonus question next week is: do Tim and Ashley own a combined? What would be the over/under on tripods?
Oh, do we, between a pool of all of the tripods that we use, more or less than
There's
seven?
two of mine are in your office right now. You'll love this. Okay, so I have two in your office, one in my office, and then I have two golf tripods. Yeah, I got a new one. This is gonna bore everybody. Well, we're doing it anyway. They make one. I mean, there's 4 different brands now, but I got the iRange one. They make one that has the MagSafe, and it's not a tripod; it's a spike. So you can put it right in the ground behind the tee box if you want to get your swing data. Just spike it right in, pick it right up. Yeah, it's not bad. Yes. Yeah, the one that you hang on the tree branches. Oh, that everybody ruins their screens in their car with? Yes. Okay. Sure, maybe. Anyway, we're back next week, 9 o'clock, for social media. That is session 5. The next time we do this, we'll be doing it in August. We'll go straight through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Those physical classes, because it will be in a straight week, taking up space, we'll be doing that in the Shark Tank in August. But next week, we'll be back in this room for session 5 of Breakthrough 120. And all of these sessions are going to be available online at kwclmhub.com under learning videos. Have a great day. We'll see you guys soon. Take care.